Yo, what's good, Pack Nation? Hey, that was a beat down, right? So, all the complaints I have for Wade, I'm gonna shut up right now. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't expect us to do that type of damage. All right. Give a couple of y'all, a little bit of time to get in here. But yeah, that was uh that was a whooping. Like I don't know the last time we put a whooping on somebody like that in conference. Like they mentioned like early 90s. I probably wasn't even watching NC State basketball like that. But can't say I didn't enjoy it. I didn't expect everybody to shoot so great from three. If we're gonna be one of those teams that once a couple hit, then everybody is follow suit. I like it. Coach still didn't play my two big lineup to start the game, but with Abube out, it makes sense. I want to know what y'all thought about this whooping. Okay, it's been a while for us to watch us, just spank Florida State. Even though they haven't been good, we would find a way to make the game difficult. Let me know what y'all think. For me, I'm excited with Williams having the ball more. I agree. I hope they continue to play like this as well. I don't know that that's going to continue, but we shall see. Yo, Jack, I agree. Listen, the way they did not let up, I was prepared for us to let them back in the game. I was prepared for us not to win by a large margin because you know how we do. We tend to, get relaxed. And we still had that a little bit, but for the most part, I don't think we played well from end to end. Definitely. McNeil was not shooting that crazy jumper, jumping through the roof. He played well. Pretty much everybody played well. I like how Arsenal is looking, right? TA is starting to come around, I think. He's put together a stretch of games where we may be able to have some confidence in him. And I would love for him to get to the point where he's starting again. And Bree didn't blow me away today. Like, I think everybody played so great. His play was kind of underwhelming, right? But if Terrence Arsenault can give us this, I mean, he's shooting threes off the dribble. He's hitting the wide open threes, driving to the lanes, playing great defense. He's long, so you just hold his arm straight up. He's playing help side defense. Like, we get this guy performing where we thought he was going to be. Now that changes some things. It takes some pressure off some players. It takes a whole lot of pressure off Williams. I know that's his boy. I know he's probably like, hey, man, I need your help. And I'm a little excited. I'm going to temper it just because I am a Wolfpack fan, so I know how this can go. But I'm going to still have a little bit of excitement, okay? So don't y'all pull me back from the ledge too soon. Like I'm going to go ahead on and step out there and get a little excited. I told you, at the beginning of the week, we're going to win the next three, right? So am I surprised at the W? No. But I am surprised at the smacking that we gave him. Like, I mean, I can't say that enough. Florida State's not that bad, y'all. Like, we made them look terrible, right? And they played Duke pretty well. I don't know. So this is a good question here. Can Copeland stop with the turnovers? Absolutely not. He can't. And we know that. We'll take low turnover games, right? because, his positives outweigh the negatives. So as long as he's giving us way more, this game, I don't think he had too many like really bad turnovers. He had a couple back to back, and then that technical he got, he's just, I don't know. I think he checks out in the middle of the game sometimes and just forgets you can't do certain stuff. Like his emotions just completely take over. So, I think we're being really greedy if we're looking for Copeland to not turn the ball over. Like, if we get that, that's like hitting the lottery. I just don't see that happening. Okay. See what Jack talking about. Copeland needs to ball fake more. FSU kept jumping the passing lanes on him. You're right. And a lot of teams are seeing they can do that, right? They're waiting for him to throw certain passes, and they're just playing the passing lane. And he hasn't caught on to that yet. There's been a couple games now that's happening. They're just waiting to leak out, overplay the passing lane. I don't know if he's going to correct that, if we're going to work on, some backdoor. Like, okay, they want to overplay it. No, I'm going to go backdoor, and then he get some of that going. But it's some of his turnovers are due to the ball fake, right? Like, Jack, I feel he's ball faking, doing too much instead of throwing it immediately, and it's causing them to, or allowing them to catch up and predict the pass. So, I think it's a little mix of both. I don't know. Hopefully he just figures that out a little bit so we can have only 1 to 2 turnovers compared to 7 or 8 like he's been doing. What's your thoughts on McNeil this game? Like, I feel like McNeil played a really solid game. He was on the boards. He got blew by a little bit on defense, but I like him being aggressive on the defensive boards, offensive boards. I think he did that pretty well. Of course, Matt Abel hitting the open 3. Yeah, I don't think many teams have beat us when both of them are cooking at the same time. Right? It's like if you've got Matt Abel cooking, you've got Paul cooking, you've got Q applying rim pressure and still spreading the ball out. You got Williams being aggressive. Hey, that's like a best case scenario, the recipe to win the ACC type stuff. Like if they're playing like that, yeah, it's going to be really hard to beat them. Like next time we see Virginia, if we play like this, it's going to be a long night for them. That's with us hitting shots, right? But if we had missed some of them shots today, it would have been a long day. So I feel like a lot of our success really hinges on us hitting shots because we know our defense is not super, and it hinges on the other team missing open shots as Florida State did, right? If you play a team that shoots a whole lot of threes that miss and you hit your shots, that's how the game can get out of control, which is what happened. But if they really had snipers, yeah, we'd be talking about a whole different thing. So, I think this is the perfect matchup for us. Bad matchup for Florida State. They play into our hands. We want to give up threes. They shoot threes. They don't hit them at a high clip. And we ended up being hot from 3 in this game time. That's pretty much a terrible scenario for a whole lot of teams. So, going into Georgia Tech, I'm like, I feel really confident about that game. I was more nervous about this Florida State game than Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is not very good, and they don't have enough weapons. They've got one guy that I'll cover in a preview of them, but he's the NBA level player. He's like power forward. I forget what his name is, but he's their only real threat that can do everything. He can rebound and then just dribble it up court and do what he wants to, if he has to do that. And he's a phenomenal shot blocker. So I really don't see Georgia Tech doing much against us. Abube was hurt this game. Y'all know I'm a huge Abube fan. Like, I want him to play. He couldn't play, so that's all right. Coach played the two big lineup. I asked him about on the radio show. I don't know if y'all saw that, but I did ask him about, playing Musa, Lubin, Williams, Copeland, and McNeil at the same time. We didn't get that because Copeland was in foul trouble. He got that tech. When he did put in Musa and Lubin together, he put in, I think it might have been Arsenal. So, and he had Williams running the point, right? Which I'm okay with. I mean, that's a nice size, lineup as well. But it doesn't give me quite the dynamic I was looking for. But I'm cool with that as long as he tried it. He did try it for a little bit. Didn't stick with it, which is tough to do when you don't have that third big to come and spell them. I get that. So, you have to sort of go big and go small again and then try going back big. But hopefully they get comfortable with that lineup. He said in his radio show, look, we should play that lineup more, right? We should play that particular lineup more. So I'm hoping he continues to try it when he has a little bit more depth on the bench and lets Abube get in the game. Now, I want to know y'all thoughts. Like, at the radio show, we talked about Abube a little bit. Like, I wonder what he has done that's caused him not to get any burn. Right? Because he got the last game, he was pretty good in like 4 minutes. He had like a steal, a few layups. He might have got like one foul. I mean, I think he did enough to get in the game. So I'm hoping, he can get in the game. I will say this. With that blowout, we really didn't see the guys on the bench get much time, right? And I'm going to be honest, I'm okay with that because we know how important the net is. You have to blow out teams for your net rating to be great, which is crazy. Like, Will Wade understands, look, I have to beat you to death for my net to be good. Since we're not beating great teams, we got to really beat up on bad teams. And when we got up by 30, we still had our starters playing. And we got up by 40, it's like, you still got to have your starters playing. So I get it. Feel tough for the guys that, on the bench that normally you're like, oh, we up 30. Coach can put us in with like the last 7 minutes of the game. Nah, it's not happening. I don't see how they're going to get garbage minutes, when there's not going to be many garbage minutes left due to the net. Right? You got to beat teams as bad as you can. And Will Wade gets it. So we're not going to see much of Ding or who else is not in the rotation right now. We're not going to see much of you're really not going to see any walk-on come on. Like, yeah, it's going to be them just sitting watching blowouts. Like I said, I'm all right with that. I am all right with that. What questions? So what I want to know is, I'm going to be at the radio show. I want to know what you all would like to ask Wade, because I'm going to ask some questions, right? Like the questions that some of these reporters are not asking, you can bet I'm going to ask. Things that you all bring up, I'm going to ask. And that's what I want, for the channel. I want us to talk about some tough stuff that for some reason they won't say. I want you to let me know. You can put it in the chat. You can comment on this later. You can shoot me an email, whatever questions you might have. Let's talk about them. See if we can't get that, that question answered and get close to coach and let him know how the pack is feeling overall. Not just the media, but it's, the regular folks. Jack says, does he want Q to be pass first or score first? Jack, I think it's pass. He spoke about how Q had the ball like 40% of the time. And that was crazy, right? He's like, look, the best player in the NBA, considered the best player in the world, doesn't have the ball that much. His usage rate should not be 40%. He's got to pass it. Very sure he wants him to be a pass first point guard, right? We got plenty of scores. We don't need him to score. We need him to pass so that everybody gets involved. Because once he starts pounding the ball and dribbling too much, then people start ball watching, right? And they're just standing around. They're not as effective. So, yeah, I think the answer to that is pass first. So this is funny. Are you going to be the new assistant or analyst to help the team? Yo, I wish, right? Matt Chasnell during the radio show was like, he asked my question, which is about the lineup. Coach Wade was like, oh, we might have to hire Gary in our analytics, right? Then later on, I had a second question. And then he was like, I asked about our style of play, right? I asked Coach, I said, look, how would you describe our style of play? And he is saying we don't have one because we haven't been consistent from game to game. He can't get consistency from players right now. And so each game is different. So that's a thing. And we can see that. We don't have a style of play, right? And in that, he's like, ask Gary what our style of play is. So look, Coach, you don't have to tease me. Go ahead and put me on staff. We can have this conversation. Our style of play is an anomaly. I don't know how you all see it, but I couldn't pinpoint it either, which is why I wanted to know how Coach felt, right? Like, okay, are we imposing ourselves on teams? No. We press, but we're not necessarily turning everybody over. Do we shoot the three well and shoot a lot of threes? No. Are we playing two bigs? No. Are we playing small the whole game? Not necessarily. You take Breed out, and then all of a sudden your guards are bigger than everybody else. So I don't know what our style of play is. And hopefully we develop that. And we're able to say, all right, look, this is how we're going to play game in and game out. This game is a nice, blueprint. But I don't know that we can continue to shoot like this, right? It was a great shooting day. I mean, great shooting day. So if we don't shoot like that, how are we, right? Like, can we really lock up a team? We all know that's no right now. So if we're not hitting our shots, we're not guarding the three well, then we'd be in trouble. So yeah, I don't know how that's going to play out. I will say, the entire game, I felt the guys were locked in. I felt like they really understood the scouting report. They guarded the three-point line above the three, so their feet were above the three-point line instead of being like on it or beneath that. I even saw for a minute as Florida State's, number one guy, he started heating up and getting hot on us. Copeland did not switch, right? So you know how we normally switch on the perimeter, and we're switching, and they're just really guarding their spot. Copeland followed that guy around, and they did not switch that, which was a nice little adjustment that Coach made because he was cooking us, right? He get the mismatch, boom, go to the rim, hang in the air or whatever if the guy was slower than him. And he decided, you know what, Copeland, that's your guy. And he just sort of followed him around and made that his man no matter what everybody else was doing. If he ran through the paint, he went through. He didn't pass it off to the big. So that was a huge thing that I saw Coach actually did in the game. And I've been asking for him to make like an in-game adjustment that's blatant, right? Like, show me over there coaching and paying attention to what's going on. Well, he did that. So I got to give him props there. If we, I don't know that he carries that over to the next game where he's guarding that far on the three-point line because everybody doesn't shoot threes like that. But we shall see. Antoine, the defensive effort, rebounding, and ball movement were the keys. You're right. That I want to say with the defensive effort that was us, but I'm wondering if it was a mix of them not being that great at hitting their shots and us playing better D, right? Um, so I'll take that. The rebounding, phenomenal. I said earlier, Paul really rebounded well from the guard spot. Okay. I think he did a phenomenal job there. And the ball movement was absolutely crazy. We did keep that ball moving. Probably, and we passed up the good shot for a great shot multiple times. Um, I think we get a little excessive with that sometimes. That causes the turnover where you should take the shot, but we didn't. But that's okay. So I agree. All good points. Jack Paul finally attacking off the dribble. He's opening the shot back up. That's a great point. He did have a few ball fakes and, actually going towards the rim. Shot a floater at the beginning of the game. Yeah, if Paul will stop being one-dimensional, that would be huge for us. That would be very, very big, especially if he can hit those shots inside the three-point line. You're right. Gary, I'm back. Can you summarize what happened of what I missed? So we were, we've been talking about this massive beatdown that we just had, and can we sustain that? We've been talking about, what led to it. Everybody chiming in and letting us know their thoughts. You can see that our team moved the ball. Defense was better. We hit threes at a high level compared to where we normally do, as well as the other team. They missed a three, we hit a three, ran off multiple threes in a row. We talked about a defensive effort. Rebounding effort, excuse me. And we just talked about each of the players and, how we feel about them and their play. Talk about Terrence Arsenault and his level of play. So, we're sharing and talk with each other about how we feel about the game. I just want to know how y'all feel. Had a little quick recap on Will Wade and where he feels the team is and his radio show, and me being able to ask questions on that radio show. So, for you all, again, if you're just chiming in, let me know. What do you want to ask, right? What questions do you still have? How are you feeling about, us so far? All of those little things. Here's a question. So if we continue to play like this, do you think we could definitely turn around the season? First, I don't know that we need to turn around the season. I don't think we're at a bad spot, right? But the first part of that, if we continue to play like this, yes, we're definitely going to win some more games, and I think some high-level games. I think we'll get over the hump and win a big game that we haven't so far. But I don't believe we're at a point where we need to turn the season around because we haven't lost to bad teams, right? Our losses are to pretty good teams. Texas might be the worst team we've lost to, which is okay. They're not bad. So I think we're in a good place. I think it's only going to go up from here. And I think we will finally get over the hump if we continue to play like this and have some consistency of beating teams on our level or above. And a lot of that has to do with Terrence Arsenault and his level of play. When he brings what he brought to the game today, that really is going to help us out, especially on the defensive end where we know we'd be struggling. But hopefully we see that improve. So that's where we're at, Pack Nation. Like, we have a blowout on the road we could be proud of for now. I'm going to keep the energy and vibe high right now. Like, I'm going to ride this while I can. Hope our team continues to play this way. And hopefully we go into Georgia Tech and demolish them as well. because there's a big gap between the teams in the upper part of the ACC and the ones towards the bottom. And we need to continue that and make sure, it's clear where we stand. All right. I'll be, asking Coach questions at the next radio show. Again, if you have something you want asked, leave it in the comments. As always, I want you to like, subscribe, and share. Go Pack.